Hey guys, this is Dr. Sadashivam once again with you. In today's video session, we are going to compare a symphony orchestra with corporate organization. And the theme is teamwork as opposed to individual brilliance. That's what the whole theme is about. I'm sure you must have watched many videos on the subject, but I bet that this video is going to leave a very strong impact on you. Now, when you look at a symphony orchestra, it is very much similar to an organization, and many principles that apply to organizations apply to symphony orchestra. Also, you have a music director with this entire paraphernalia of artists, which is very akin to a managing director of the organization. Of course, the director has a group of artists starting from saxophonists, clarinetists, pianists, accordionists, vocalists, and each group of artists will be headed by a team leader. And from a corporate perspective, it is something akin to department managers in respective organizations. And you also have many sections, like you have a percussion section, string section, a wind instrument section, and you have various, like you have departments within a corporate organization headed by department managers. And just as you have a job description in corporate companies, each of these artists have their own notations and key. And everyone in the symphony need to follow these keys. They have their own scales, their own rhythm, and the tempo is always maintained by the conductor of the symphony, very much like leaders in the organization, like your department manager, divisional manager, etc., etc. And like we discussed, you have job descriptions, they have notations. And these notations are also similar to your process manuals like ISO 9001 manual or 14001. You have all these standard operating procedures, and each of the processes are laid out, and much in the same way you have those notations which each artist follow religiously. And of course, we talked about the conductor or a director who takes the whole project forward. And this is the mechanical aspect of a symphony orchestra. Like you have a corporate company, you have a pecking order, you have a hierarchy, organizational chart. Each department have their own objectives, and you have these balance scorecard, and which measures you have 4 pillars: your profitability, your finance, sales, manufacturing, and set of quality parameters, etc. But is that all? Is it something like a clock, something like a machine, and you give the key and everything happens like a machine, right? This is where a leader comes into play, and we are going to talk about the human element in the organization, which is supposed to be much more effective, much more stronger than processes. Of course, process is important, whether it is an organization or it is an orchestra, because if you don't have that process or that set of established procedures or organized systems, you won't be able to bring out the right outcome, whether it is an organization or an orchestra. But much more than that, the chemistry between people is extremely important. We'll talk about the orchestra. The chemistry between all the artists is extremely paramount. That human touch, that camaraderie, that bond, that harmony, that bonhomie, that brotherhood is extremely important within the team in an orchestra. As you know, in any music orchestra, each of these artists support each other because trust is paramount. Mutual appreciation is extremely important, because once in a while somebody makes a mistake, but people don't point it out, people cover it up. It happens in orchestra many times, right? A string might break, or for example, when the saxophonist is playing, some buttons may not work. Other artists, immediately they come and rescue that guy. Audience do not have a clue of what is happening. And many a times, you can have mistakes in notations, but they get over all that. They ensure that the audience sitting in front of them will not come to know of it. They support each other so well. Now, if you look at it, they follow the rhythm, they flow with the swing, they follow the keys, and the final output is that brilliant piece of music that emerges. The rule is very simple. You have your key performance indicators, you have your KRAs, key result areas, you have annual performance system, you have that normal distribution. Like here, the final outcome is that beautiful performance, and the KPI is a standing ovation. If there is no standing ovation and if there is no clap for 3 minutes, then you have not done your best. That's a simple KPI for them. The KPI is so simple. There's no room to trade blames, guys. This guitarist did not play the note properly. This accordionist on the 7th note, he played a wrong. There's no room for all this because everyone takes the blame together. And they are aware of it because that decides their success. Moreover, there is a very important aspect, and there is no room for individual brilliance, individual merits. Like you say, this guy in the string section is the best, or this particular girl in the wind section is exemplary, she is indispensable. There's no indispensability, there's no question of all this. You wouldn't even know who is doing what their name is. Ultimately, it is the final performance, that rich piece of music that matters. The credit of the whole thing, the music director takes, right? Much like an orchestra. Even if the best guitarist leaves the orchestra, it doesn't make a big difference because some other guitarist will step in. He knows the required notes, and as long as the director is able to keep the group together and he is able to create that atmosphere, orchestra is one of the best, and they will continue to give the best of the best performance. Now, in the context of an organization, how would you compare the performance in an organization, especially as far as the interdepartmental harmony is concerned, with a musical symphony orchestra? I don't want to comment much on it. I have worked in corporates. You have all worked in corporates, and we know what the undercurrents, what games people play, etc. We have one brilliant guy in every department, and if you don't give him a promotion, he threatens to resign. I don't want to discuss. I'm sure each one of you will have some name coming to your mind. This requires a lot of soul searching and introspection, and I leave that to you. Now, we're going to discuss 5 levels of leadership, and this was an exemplary concept by John Maxwell. I will be coming out with a 16-volume video on this subject, and before that, I would like to give you a brief view what these 5 levels are. These are a revolutionary concept, and each of these are concepts, but simple concepts, but the manner in which it is put out, that is exemplary. Initially, it is level 1. Level 1 starts with your position, typically, your designation in the company, your job description, executive director, senior officer, whatever. You have people working under you because people will follow you because they have to. They have no other option, and that is how the pecking order has been designed. That's the organizational chart. The only downside in this is they don't generally put in their best of the best energy and efforts in the process, right? So that's a positional level of a leader, which is purely transactionary. Now, level 2 is permission level. When you develop kind of a connect with your employee, you develop kind of a chemistry, and your subordinates, they want to follow you. There, it's a question of mandate by the organization, something mandated, dictated by your organizational chart. But in the permission level, you have connected with them so well over a period of time you have established those connections with them, and you are a leader whom people like, your subordinates like. There are certain basic characteristics of such leaders. The first is, those are the leaders who listen. There's something called as a Peters principle, and I would like to take up this Peters principle in some other video. Do go through that video, right? Three important. The first is the listening, and the second characteristic is they observe very well. They're very, very conscious of their department, what their people are, what their people are doing, what interests them, and what kind of a leadership can be best adopted to them. You have various models of leadership. You have situational leadership, you have management by walking around, host of leadership theories. We're not going to get into any of them, but just that they know their people so well, and they are in a position to connect with them very well. Thirdly, good leaders are often on this thing. They listen well, they observe well, and third, they are constantly learning, because this attitude of leaders brings in a kind of attitude of servanthood in them. Now, coming to the third level, it is the production level. That is when people start producing exemplary performance, exemplary results. One is playing and completing a song, but playing the song in the same rhythm in a way that people stand up and clap for you. Well, if you put in your best, anybody can play a song. Okay, your job has been done, but that's not what they want. You played the right notes, your scale was maintained, and that's fine. But what makes a standing ovation? Because something touched the people's heart. Because everybody in the troupe, they stretched themselves. And here we are talking about the production level, where every member in the organization, they stretched themselves. Look at this particular music director. Look at him. He is able to make that connect, not just with one artist, with all the artists. Accordionist, the guitarist. This guy, over a period of time, in all their practices, he has established their connection. This music director's presence will do all the magic, right? Now, if you talk about the level 4, that is the development level. That's key to development level, because 80% of the success of any organization is on the front door. When we talk about front door, we are talking about recruitment. What kind of people you bring into the organization? It is not just enough you bring qualified people inside the organization, but where are you putting those guys? That is what is extremely important. Now look at this. Successful people are good at discovering what they are good at. I'm talking about successful people are discovering what they are good at. But successful leaders are good at discovering what people working under them are good at. And accordingly, he gives the right job to the right person. So if you recruit well, if you position well, and if you equip them well, that's the first step towards a successful organization. Now, how do you do that? There are lots and lots of theories, lots and lots of concepts. But for now, I would like to enumerate this 5-step process as explained by John Maxwell. I will customize it to India. So he talks about 5. The first is I do it. Second is I do it. You are observing me how I am doing it. And then there is a third process where you are going to do it, and he's going to watch you do that, your boss, your leader. Then fourth, you will do it on your own, and there won't be anybody to supervise, because you have that dedication, you have that passion, and you have started already showing performance. Now the most important level, which is the level 5, that is the summit level, that's called as pinnacle level. People in your team, they start respecting you, not because of what your designation is, but because of who you are as an individual and what you have done. That is what takes you to the pinnacle level, and just the designation provided by the company will not give that privilege. It depends not on the kind of power you have, but how you have used your power in the past to connect with people who work under you, right? Okay, guys, I'm sure you liked this video. I've made this comparison between a symphony orchestra and a corporate organization. I'm so eager to hear your comments. Do put your comments down below. And this is Dr. Sadashivam signing off. Till we meet again. Jai Hind.